The all or nothing mindset, it's pervasive in a lot of areas of life, not just health. But with specific to health, people feel like if they can't be on a strict diet, they can't be in shape. If they can't commit to working out 5 times a week for 90 minutes each time or whatever the ridiculous expectation is, they can't get in shape. And so they go through this process of starting and stopping and starting and stopping, getting in shape and losing the weight, then the weight comes back and they get out of shape. And it's just this endless cycle of starting and stopping.
We've just opened up enrollment for the 2023 Legendary Life Coaching Program. And if you sign up in the next 5 days, I'm doing something special. I've never done this before, but I'm giving you a special bonus. I'm giving you 3 weeks of coaching free if you sign up in the next 5 days. Yes, I know it's crazy, but I wanted to do something for you to entice you to take action now and to reward you for taking action now before the January 1st comes and all the post-holiday fervor starts. So all you have to do is this: schedule a 15-minute strategy call and you'll lock in your special holiday bonus today. Go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and schedule your 15-minute strategy call with me. But hurry, I'm only doing this for the next 5 spots for my group coaching and the next 3 spots for my private coaching. And I'm putting up this promotion on social media as well as our email list. So again, go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and let's make 2023 the year that you created the body you've always wanted. No more excuses, no more quitting, no more saying it isn't the right time. Let's make it happen. If that sounds good for you, if that sounds like something you want, if you want to make 2023 the year, let's book a call and looking forward to speaking with you. Welcome to the Legendary Life Podcast, where it's all about taking control of your health, losing fat, transforming your body, and living the life you deserve with celebrity fitness trainer and longevity enthusiast, Ted Rice. In this new 5-part series called Make 2023 Your Best Year Ever, I'm going to address the 4 biggest diet problems that are stopping you from losing weight, reclaiming your health, and creating the body you deserve in 2023. This series is based on my 23 years of experience, including real-life strategies that I've developed, tested, and refined while working with hundreds of high achievers who want to lose fat, transform their bodies, all while living a great life and growing their business or career. So tune in so you can make 2023 your best year ever. Let me know if this sounds familiar. On Monday, you tell yourself, no more bread, pasta, rice, pizza, ever again. But by Friday, you're like, you know what? Oh, how about 3rd slice of pizza? And then Sunday rolls around. You're like, I hate myself. I have no willpower. I'm a loser. You know what? Next week, I'm getting rid of all the goodies in my house. I'm going to toss out everything that I think is unhealthy. This unhealthy food, it's got to stop. And then Monday rolls around and you're like, oh, got to go grocery shopping. I threw out all the food. So I'm kind of joking here, but I think you're getting what I'm putting down. At least I hope so. The problem is consistency with healthy habits is hard. And contrary to what the diet industry and tough talking fitness influencers on Instagram would have you believe, it's not because you lack discipline. It's because the weight loss industry is built around the idea that restrictive behaviors are the recipe for success, combined with a food environment that's rapidly changed in the past 100 years. So what is up, my friend, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Ted Rice, coach for over 23 years. And we work with founders, entrepreneurs, and busy professionals to help them lose fat, boost energy, and make this into a lifestyle so that they never have to go on another diet again. And the very transparent reason for this podcast is because I want to teach you the best strategies I've learned in 2 decades to help you achieve faster and sustainable results with your health. And the other side is some of you are going to want me to guide you along the way, and some of you are going to become clients. So if you're interested in taking that next step, you'll know who to call. So let's jump into it. Keto, paleo, Whole30, 75 hard, Orange Theory, CrossFit, competing in triathlons and marathons. These are all strategies that clients have tried in the past, but they couldn't keep up. Why? Well, the problem with keto and low carb is that you're never going to eat a slice of bread again. It's hard to keep up because of the restrictions. Paleo is even more restricting because you can have bread, but you got to find like the paleo bread. You have to order it online, and it's just tough to do paleo. I actually had someone tell me that he and his wife got great results doing the Whole30, but they had to stay home. He literally told me that he had to stay home and had a non-existent social life, and they started getting a little depressed because the Whole30 didn't allow them to hang out with their friends. When it comes to workout routines and sport competitions, injuries are usually the reason my clients stop. And by the way, it's not just my clients. I've made these mistakes too. When I was in my 20s, I worked out like crazy. I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was addicted. I'm a recovering Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu addict, training 3 to 5 times a week. Sometimes I would train for like 3 hours in a day. It was crazy what I used to do. And then I lifted weights a couple times on top of it. And I followed a strict low carb diet, or at least that's what I thought because, hey, I wasn't tracking, but I'm pretty sure I was. I also thought that walking was for wimps and doing cardio, that was for people who were afraid to lift heavy weights or do interval training. Yes, I know, I was an idiot. But now I'm 45 and my approach has changed a lot. I walk daily. You'd probably be unimpressed with my workout. I eat a lot of croissants, well, at least recently. And I'm getting leaner, by the way. I take breaks from my workouts if I feel my joints. And my social life and stress reduction practices are as important as my workouts. In fact, I've got to knock out this episode right now because I'm going to be on my way to the Hyatt Spa here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico to meet my friends and to do some, it's got a cold plunge, but I'll be mostly spending time in the jacuzzi and sauna. So I started realizing that if I'm going to be in great health when I'm in my 70s and 80s, and am I going to live to my 90s? I don't know, or 100, I don't know. But if I'm going to make it there with good health and not be like how my parents were, it starts with sustainable habits that I create now. So I want to get into the lessons that I've learned about this over the past 5 years. And I'm going to share some personal examples as well as examples from my clients. And the first lesson is you must commit to doing always something, or you must commit to always doing something. I've talked about this a lot in the past. The other side of this is the all or nothing mindset. The all or nothing mindset, it's pervasive in a lot of areas of life, not just health. But with specific to health, people feel like if they can't be on a strict diet, they can't be in shape. If they can't commit to working out 5 times a week for 90 minutes each time or whatever the ridiculous expectation is, they can't get in shape. And so they go through this process of starting and stopping and starting and stopping, getting in shape and losing the weight, then the weight comes back and they get out of shape. And it's just this endless cycle of starting and stopping. And I can't talk a lot about this through personal experience because the time that, I guess, you know what? I want to change that. If I had to say where I was guilty of all or nothing, because I'm going to cover this a bit later, but I'll say I would go too hard and injure myself all the time. And then I would get depressed and stop training at all. So it took me a long time. This is going to sound pretty obvious to you, or at least I hope it does. But it took me a long time to realize that when my knee hurts, I can still train my upper body, or I can do mobility work. Or actually now what I do, if my knee hurts, I know a ton of exercises that can get my body back working the very next day. In fact, that this happened to me the other day. My knee started hurting quite bad. And I was like, oh man, that feels terrible, really bad. What felt like a really bad injury, but I was able to, the very next day, get it back feeling good again. So anyway, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but the point is you've got to commit to always doing something. No matter if you're injured, oh, but I can't work out when I'm injured. Yes, you can, but you need to do the right things. And you need to commit to always doing something nutrition-wise. Nutrition is it's hardest psychologically, but it's easiest because you're always eating. What I mean by that is exercising, you have to take time out of your day to go do, and you could get away with not exercising. For long term, that really doesn't work out well for you at all, but you can do it short term. Short term, you can't go without food. You're always having to eat something. So with every meal that you eat and every snack that you have an opportunity to make a choice. And you can certainly make better choices. But what happens is people go all or nothing here. And if they have a little bit of a slip up, they say, I just screwed up. Might as well just forget about it. I'm just going to, let the floodgates loose. I'm going to eat everything. That is a problem. And this all or nothing mindset is probably going on in other areas of your life. So the emotionally healthy way to approach fitness is to commit to always doing something. And I want to tell you how I do this now, because I don't want to say I have a stressful lifestyle, but the reality is I have stress. So a lot of it self-imposed, meaning I flew from Madrid to Mexico. It was a long flight. I was jet lagged. It took me a while to recover. I couldn't just jump back into my workouts. So I've had to learn how to commit to always doing something. When I travel, sometimes I don't have a gym. When I was in Madrid for a week, I didn't have a gym. So now I travel with a band system, and I have band exercises that I do where I can get in really good shape just doing that. I get in better shape if I have a full gym. But if worst case scenario, I'm still going to be able to maintain my body, maintain a good level of fitness, and I can walk every day. So I'm committed to always doing something. And my environment changes quite frequently, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that. So commit to always doing something. Tell yourself, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to either go for a walk. I don't care if I've had a hard day at work. I'm going to go for a walk. In fact, I'll feel better if I go for the walk. And the reason why this is so important, can you guess what I'm about to say? It's because it has to do with habits and retraining yourself. When you commit to always doing something, it forces you to be flexible. It forces you to build habits. And the way we make health easy to keep up is by making it automatic. And this sucks to do it first, but once you have it dialed in, it makes it's so easy to keep up. I don't really think about my workouts that much. I have a high level of skill. That's why I'm laughing. It's like I just do it. So depending on your challenges, like I've got a client, shout out to you, Cindy. Cindy's retired. She travels, I think, more than I do. Now she doesn't work anymore. She's enjoying the good life, but in the Galapagos, if I said that right, islands, and doing all this great traveling, but she's not going to have a gym there. And so we've had to figure out some things to do. So even if you're not under a lot of stress, but you're traveling a lot like Cindy is, you're going to have to come up with some different approaches that fit your lifestyle. And we've done that with her. So there's always something to commit to here. You just have to be creative in figuring it out. Lesson 2 is you must set realistic expectations. This is another one where, let me think if I was thinking about this. Do I have an issue with realistic expectations? With my body, I don't feel like I do. Of course, if I sat down on a couch with a psychologist, maybe they would figure something out. But I was trying to think, do I have it? I have it with my business, but with my body, I'm not thinking of an example. So I got to tell you a client's story. I have a client, one-on-one client. When he first joined, signed up for 6 months, and we talked together. His goal, want to see my abs. Haven't seen them. I'm ready to make that happen. Let's do it. And as we began to work together, it was clear having that goal was nowhere near where we should have been thinking. It's a nice long-term goal, But there's a lot of initial things that we're going to have to do to get my client close to that. And the first thing was it's been hard to set a consistent workout program for him because of some of the things he's challenged by at work. And so a lot of our conversations have been on, okay, well, how do we we need to re-examine the expectations here because getting abs, at least at the moment, isn't going to happen. We need to work on getting you consistent with some form of exercise first. And then we need to work on nutrition, but we've got to handle the exercise. People, if you're not exercising, you've got to work on that first. Or simultaneously with your nutrition, but working on your nutrition without exercise. I'm not going to say you can't do it because you certainly could, but I think that's a really bad idea. Unless you're morbidly obese, high level of obesity, have some limitations where you just got to, where number one, it's going to be, I don't want to say easy to lose body fat, but you just have so much to lose that it would be easy to lose 10, 20 pounds. I don't want, I hesitate to say easy. I should say simple to lose that much weight with dietary adjustments. But if you're overweight or just, a bit obese, what I do with my clients, I get them exercising. And so I work on that first. And again, gotta be realistic. You can't, one thing that I ask my clients when they first sign up, okay, how many times do you want to work out? Oh, I want to work out 6 days a week. Okay, great. Fantastic. How long? Well, I can do an hour. Okay, great. So let me ask you this. On a scale 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can hit 1 hour workout 6 times a week? Oh, probably about a 6 or a 7. That's a problem. I've got to scale them back until they give me a 9. I shouldn't share that with you because some of you are going to become clients and you might try to game the system. And one of the reasons I do this is because I go on to ask, well, listen, I want you to tell me what would happen if I gave you 6 1-hour workouts. And let's say you only hit 2 of them or 3 of them. How would that make you feel psychologically? Would that motivate you or demotivate you? Oh, it would demotivate me. I'd feel like a loser. So you're telling me that 60 or 70% of the time you can hit 6 workouts, 1-hour workouts per week, but 40% of the time or 30% of the time you're going to miss. And those 30 to 40% of the time misses, you're going to feel like a loser and going to want to give up. Do you see the problem there? So it's really important to set realistic expectations. Lesson 3, pace yourself. Now, this is where I've messed up the most. I was an exercise addict. When I say I was addicted to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's only a half joke. I would literally get this. I would come home from work. I would feel stressed from what was going on in my life. And I would also feel bored with my life because I was home, stressed out from a day of work, but now I was bored. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I shouldn't go to jiu-jitsu. My body needs a break. Then I would start telling myself, you know what? Yeah, but jiu-jitsu is exercise and it's good for you. So I should go. And I would have that battle, probably like what alcoholics have or drug addicts have sometimes. I've had my own challenges with substances too, with marijuana. Shared that before. But when I got away from getting high all the time, I was having the same type of behavior with exercise, with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in particular. And as a result of being this way, I'm struggling with a lot of injuries now. People would put me in chokes and I wouldn't tap because I wanted to escape them. And that combined with a couple of car accidents I was in, I was told that I have the neck, more specifically the cervical spine of a 90-year-old. I was told that by a neurosurgeon. And so it's really important to pace yourself here. And I say this because I've seen people reach out to me or apply for calls where they're saying, well, I work out a lot, but my knee's hurting, my shoulder aches, my back is bad. And what I want to tell you is this: you must pace yourself. You must pace yourself. Even in my coaching program, I've had a group client and a one-on-one client both injure themselves. And I want to tell you how, because it wasn't my workout, okay? I'm really dialed in with the way that I write workouts. I prevent injuries, but both of these clients were feeling so good. They lost, but I think both of them lost 20 pounds in about a 4-month period. They felt like they were starting to reclaim the fire of their youth. And because of that, they got a little cocky. And again, no judgments here. I've done this too. And they were, both of them hurt themselves sprinting. So they ran really hard and hurt themselves. You have to pace yourself. You have to pace yourself. Another example is I've got a client who plays tennis every week, 5, 6, 7 times a week. He's had to take a break from tennis due to tennis elbow. Now, he wasn't having a problem before, and he was taking a break. And he actually said, you know what, Ted? In the past, I would have just pushed through it. So I feel like I'm in a really good place now after working with you. He's still working with me, this particular client. And another thing that he told me is he belongs to a tennis club. And he told me everyone's got a shoulder replacement, a shoulder surgery. They're all messed up. And that's what you're on your way to if you are not careful with this, if you don't pace yourself. So please learn from our mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes. And sometimes you just got what do you call it? It's the luck of the draw. For example, I was born with congenital hip dysplasia, but I wasn't told that until last year. And so it's like, oh yeah, you're probably going to have to get both hips replaced. I'm like, what? I've always wondered why I do have hip problems. The orthopedic surgeon, he deals with Cirque du Soleil performers. He grabbed my hip and twisted it. And he's like, that doesn't hurt. And I'm like, no. He's like, you have arthritis in both hips and you have congenital hip dysplasia. So not only do you have to pace yourself here with just normal exercise, you have to make sure that you pace yourself if you have injuries like I do. You have to be careful. So pace yourself, because you don't want to be the person who's in their 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s talking about how you used to be in shape, but you were too gung-ho with your workouts. And then now you're boring everybody with stories of how you used to be a has-been. Please don't do that. So pace yourself. Lesson 4, deal with the underlying emotional issues. Now I saved this one for number 4. I've got one more lesson for you. I saved this for number 4 because it's not fun to talk about. It's not fun to talk about the fact that our emotions are what causes us to quit. And it's not fun to talk about our emotions being the cause of over exercising. So deal with the underlying emotional issues. For me, if I can rewind to that moment where I was telling you, I would come home, I was very frustrated with my life in my late 20s. And that's when I got into jiu-jitsu, late 20s, early 30s. That's the time period here. I'm 45 now, just to remind you. And I was dealing with a lot of stuff with my family. I was dealing with a lot of issues where I really wanted to grow my business, and I struggled with business quite a bit. Luckily, I've been able to get some great mentors. And now I feel, I don't want to say great at business, but I feel like comfortable, and I could be great. I'm never going to be the world-class entrepreneur. I'm never going to be, I hesitate to say his name, but Elon Musk or Richard Branson or anyone like that. I'm not going to be like someone who's like, man, this guy's so gifted with business. But you know what? I can build a successful business. And but I was struggling in those days. And it wasn't until I started dealing with the underlying emotional issues. Now, I don't want to get into the full trauma of my life, but you know my story if you heard this podcast. The family loss, the abuse, all the craziness, alcoholism, and my own bad behavior too. So you got to deal with the underlying emotional issues. Hopefully the emotional issues aren't as crazy as my story, but we all have some emotional challenges here. And this is where I'm really proud of myself for the type of coaching that we do, because I don't help you to just get in shape talking about it's a calorie deficit, go lift weights. Okay, that'll be a few $1,000s. That's not what we do. We help you become healthier emotionally. while teaching you the best strategies to transform your body. And that journey profoundly changes people and makes them emotionally healthier people, more emotionally healthy, struggling with English right now. That's what we do. We combine both the strategies, the mindset, and the accountability to lead to a profound transformation. I even hesitate to say that because I think it's easier to say, no, we just help you lose some weight. Don't you want to lose some weight? You want to lose some weight, don't you? So what I say is I help you lose the weight and not gain it back. And that's true. But the way we do it isn't by saying it's a calorie deficit, right? We really strategically help you navigate this journey and craft a lifestyle that is very enjoyable and that's conducive to being healthy, not just healthy physically, but emotionally and even socially healthy. Your relationships. I'm not a relationship counselor. I don't want to go down that tangent, but we help you become better. And our clients make more money. Their families are happier. Not all my clients make more money. A lot of them get, if they're entrepreneurs, they do. I mostly work with entrepreneurs and founders, but they make more money. And a lot of my clients who work in businesses end up making more money too and get promoted because there's just something about getting your shit handled that leads to more success in other areas. So let's go to number 5, is to set yourself up for success. I want to share something with you. People are so hard on themselves, and that's part of the underlying emotional issues, is to kind of realize that the weight gain situation is not your fault. It's your responsibility to take care of your health. No one else's, not the government's, not anyone else's. It's yours. Yours. That said, though, it's the environment that's messing us up. Do you know why wild animals don't get fat? Because they have to catch their food. And there's not that much food around. They don't call Uber Eats or just go down to the vending machine or take a trip to the office pantry. So do you know how to make wild animals fat if you wanted to? Well, you change their environment. In fact, that's exactly what they do with mice. In mice studies, they've done a lot of research like, hey, what can we do? They do terrible things in animal studies, but don't want to get into that, open up that can of worms. But the reality is we've gained so much insight into our own physiology and even psychology from animal studies. So one of the things that they've done is they've figured out if you just feed mice, if you change nothing else, but just feed mice ultra processed food that's both high in carbs and fat and low in protein, they get fat. Nothing else changes, just the food, and they get fat. So the environment matters a lot because that's what's happened to us. If you wanted to run your own experiment, your own human experiment, and make everybody fat, what would you do? You would have a lot of hyper palatable foods. So a lot of processed foods, or ultra processed food is the term that's used, hyper palatable or ultra processed foods. If you're not sure what that is, potato chips, custards, ice cream, those types of things, cookies, basically everything at a convenience store. And you would make it easily accessible and you would make it cheap. And that's exactly what has happened in the United States, the UK, Mexico. I'm in Mexico now. They're competing with us for the fattest country. Unfortunately, it's not a competition. You want to win, but it's happening. It is what it is. And it's because the environment changes. And we see the same thing happen all the time. As soon as a developing country becomes developed, the more it modernizes, the more this happens. The other part is not just nutrition and the ultra processed food. It's also you help people to stay seated as much as possible. Let me ask you this. How do you think it would go for you if we sent you to the Serengeti and put you on a Netflix binge with plenty of processed food? You get eaten faster than you can say the White Lotus series. I don't know. You would not last. Sorry for my bad jokes, folks. You would not last. You would have to You would have to get up. You'd have to protect yourself. You'd have to find shelter, especially at night. Lions hunt at night. It would be a very different thing for you, very different experience. So the environment is huge. So why am I telling you this? Because I want you to think about your environment and how you can set yourself up for success. Some of the things I do, I travel a lot, but guess what? There's some, let's say, strategies that I have. For example, I was in Madrid recently. I didn't have a gym there, but I travel with my bands and I work out. I've got actually bands and a couple other things. I always work out. So I set myself up for success. And when I can, I stay in a building that has a gym because I don't want to join a gym. I don't like going to gyms anymore. I spent too many years of my life in a gym, not feeling it. My main priority is growing my business, creating content. So I want to go to the gym, do my thing, come back, get back to work. And so I stay in buildings with gyms as much as possible. In Europe, it's a bit harder, but here in Mexico, I got a gym. The other thing is I stay in places that are walkable. I also stay in places where I have access to a grocery store within walking distance. That's what I had in Lisbon. That's what I have here in Mexico. So I set myself up for success. I also stay in areas with a lot of sunlight that are mostly warm, although Lisbon is quite cold now and Madrid was cold as well when I was there. But in general, that's what I do. I set myself up for success. So if you're in a place where you have to drive everywhere, which is most of the United States, and you have a lot of access to junk food, which is most of the United States, and you have to, spend more money. I don't want to get into this argument, but buying 0% fat Greek yogurt, usually more expensive than buying ramen noodles. So anyway, setting yourself up for success. The other side of this is who you hang out with. We know that who you hang out with is also setting you up for success or setting you up for failure. One of the things that we have with our clients is we have them sit down and talk with their family because their family may not be on a journey to transform their body. So we have them sit down and talk and ask for support. That's one of the reasons when I said I'm not a relationship counselor, but we help them have better relationships. This is an example of it. And some of our clients, what they do is they ask their family, hey, please lock that food away. And I don't want to know where it is because I'll eat it. For me, I don't buy food that I know isn't going to last here, right? That I know that I can't control myself around. And I want to say something more about the relationship part. I won't date a woman who isn't on the same page with me in that regard. So exercise has to be part of it. Now, you may be in a relationship and that wasn't part of the agreement and you're wanting to change, or maybe they're already in shape and they don't have the same problems as you. It's going to be a different journey. It's going to revolve more around the communication. But if you're single and your health is important to you, you must set yourself up for success. And who you choose as your partner is extremely important. So if health is important to you, make sure it's part of who you choose to be with. And that is it. Just to recap here, lesson 1 is commit to always doing something. You got to get rid of that all or nothing mindset. Lesson 2 is set realistic expectations. Lesson 3 is pace yourself. You're going to be alive for a long time. Everyone says, oh, we never know, you could be gone tomorrow. But you're probably not going to be gone tomorrow. You're probably going to be here. Not just tomorrow, but 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Lesson 4, deal with the underlying emotional issues. And lesson 5, set yourself up for success. That is it for the episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, the next and final installment of the series, Make 2023 your best year ever.
We've just opened up enrollment for the 2023 Legendary Life Coaching Program. And if you sign up in the next 5 days, I'm doing something special. I've never done this before, but I'm giving you a special bonus. I'm giving you 3 weeks of coaching free if you sign up in the next 5 days. Yes, I know it's crazy, but I wanted to do something for you to entice you to take action now and to reward you for taking action now before the January 1st comes and all the post-holiday fervor starts. So all you have to do is this: schedule a 15-minute strategy call and you'll lock in your special holiday bonus today. Go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and schedule your 15-minute strategy call with me. But hurry, I'm only doing this for the next 5 spots for my group coaching and the next 3 spots for my private coaching. And I'm putting up this promotion on social media as well as our email list. So again, go to legendarylifeprogram.com/apply and let's make 2023 the year that you created the body you've always wanted. No more excuses, no more quitting, no more saying it isn't the right time. Let's make it happen. If that sounds good for you, if that sounds like something you want, if you want to make 2023 the year, let's book a call and looking forward to speaking with you.
We are going to continue this series on Friday. And in the 5th and final episode of this series, the problem I'm going to discuss is the right strategies. One of the issues is that people just don't know who to listen to, who to follow, what should they eat low carb or should they do low fat, or should they cut out a meal and do intermittent fasting, or should they eat 6 times per day? They don't know what to do. So here's what I'm going to do for you in episode 5. I'm going to break down the only 5 things you need to do to transform your body. I know that's a big promise. It's a strong promise, but what I want you to do, I want you to tune in on Friday. I want you to listen to the strategies and I want you to implement them. I'm not asking you to believe me here. I'm asking you to try what I'm saying and you will get results. Or you can find me online on social media and tell me how I'm such a hack and how I don't know anything. That's fine, but only after you give it an earnest try. All right? I'm really excited for this one because it's going to change the game for you. It's going to give you the actionable components to actually make 2023 your best year ever. That's it for now. Hope you enjoy your week and speak to you on Friday.